The audio still good? Okay. Okay, where do you think the majority of the drugs are coming from?
Are we talking about meth or are we talking about the pills?
If we can talk about pills, that'd be great. Or do
I
you
think
want to talk about both?
let's talk about both.
Yeah.
Well, pills all come from a legitimate source. They are made by the pharmaceutical companies, and then they go to the drugstores, and then they go to the street. It's not like you can grow the pills in your backyard like you could marijuana. It all has to come from a legitimate source. The problem is too many prescriptions are written. In our jail, uh, if we have someone that has been injured, or if they come in from a car wreck and they're DUI and they have to go to jail and are in pain, our nurse's office can take care of that pain for the most part without using any opioids. But it's almost other people get prescriptions written to them too easily, because we know that they can survive the pain because we see it every day. But some people are just too quick to write a prescription, take this, and they do, and they need more, take this, and then they get hooked, and then it just goes downhill from there. Then they have to start buying it off the street, because when the doctor cuts them off, they have to buy it somewhere, because they don't have the means or the willpower to stop it.
Mm-hmm. Do you think it's a specific demographic of people or group of people, or do you see anyone from, you know, housewives, what kind of people are you seeing buying drugs?
Everybody, everybody. It doesn't matter about their age. It doesn't matter about their socioeconomic standing in the community. Once they get hooked, and they may have a legitimate reason for needing painkillers. They may have been in a car wreck. They may have taken a fall. They may have dislocated a shoulder, and they have to have relief. But it's too easy to take that one extra pill. You should stop. If you can stand it, just stop, and it will get better without it. But people just don't know when to quit, seems like.
How has the opioid epidemic directly impacted you? What kind of toll has it taken on you, if any?
Well, not really much other than what I see. I don't have anyone in my family that has that kind of problem. But it is what I see that affects me, because we go into houses that are completely infested with roaches, even walking on the ceiling, and makes you want to button your collar up. And the kids, nasty, dirty. And the reason it is because they would rather spend their money to get drugs rather than take care of their own family. And it's a terrible situation.
Mm-hmm. Why do you think drug dealers target East Tennessee counties? What's your theory behind it?
Well, I don't really know. There have been things said such as hillbilly heroin, which is OxyContin. It just seems like that people in these areas are almost more susceptible to the addiction. I don't know how that can be versus any other part of the country, but maybe we've got doctors that are too free to write the prescriptions. I don't know.
Let's see. Does the Hamblen County Sheriff's Office use any overdose antidote, like Narcan or naloxone? Do you guys carry that?
No, we don't.
Okay, all right. And then, let's see. Do you feel like drug-related arrests have increased in the past year compared to past years?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. We only have 255 beds in our jail. Week before last, we had 437 in our jail. And in the last year, well, right now we're probably averaging better than 400 a day. And out of 255 beds, we'll average 400 inmates per day. And that is because people are here because of drugs. If they're stealing from someone's car, they're trying to convert it to drugs. If they're shoplifting, they're converting it to drugs. Drugs is the underlying problem, and that's why our inmate count is so high.
If you had to just estimate, how many out of those 400 would you say are opiate related?
Out of the 400, probably half. In addition to the meth problem that we have, because we're showing such a dramatic increase in meth cases here, that doesn't mean they're going to turn down a pill if they can get their hands on that. Because if you'll take one, you'll take the other.
Can you kind of help us understand the mindset of someone who is addicted to drugs?
That's almost impossible. Several years ago, we handed out a questionnaire to a group of inmates here in the Hamblen County Jail. And it was completely voluntary. They didn't have to do it, didn't have to sign their name, nothing. If they wanted to answer our questions, they could or not. It didn't make any difference. And we had responses that people as young as 8 years old started using drugs. We had responses that said, as soon as I get out, I am going straight to using drugs again. Why do you want to use drugs? Because it makes me feel good. People are so short-sighted because they're looking for immediate pleasure, but they're not looking down the road to see what these drugs can do to them. People using meth can look normal and healthy and do meth for 10 years and they look like they've aged dramatically, sores, loose teeth, but they don't think that far ahead.
Mm-hmm. Some of our viewers think that addicts can automatically just stop taking drugs, and then some of our viewers think that addiction is a disease. What's your take on it?
I don't think it's a disease, and I don't think that it's easy to quit. Once you get started, you get that in your system. The pain of withdrawal is so great that it's the easier way to take the next fix than it is to try to tough it out. They need professional help to get away from drugs. I feel like that if you're doing it to yourself, it's not actually a disease. It's something that you've done yourself. It's not something that comes on you and gives you problems. You're actually the one that started all of it.
Do you think there are enough resources in East Tennessee to help addicts who want to recover?
No, absolutely not.
Can you go into a little more detail about that?
Well, one of the things that that was in the questionnaire that we did a few years ago with the inmates, one of the problems that they had was that I do want to quit drugs, but there does not seem to be any place to go for help. And these aren't all local people. This is because we have people from all parts of the country in our jail. And it seems that the ones that actually want the help say that they don't have access once they get out of jail. They don't have enough access to people that could be able to help them.
Can you tell the story again about the generations of people in that one family? Just recap what you said earlier about arresting 5 generations for drugs.
Well, not all of the arrests were for drugs. Some of them were different things, but in my career, which goes back 40 years, I have arrested people in the same family for 5 different generations over time, and it seems like that particular family has no hope. When they have a new child, it just goes into the way mother and dad did and grandfather did and everybody else did. You know, they don't have any hope.
Are drugs an epidemic in Hamblen County?
Yes.
What do you do about that?
The only thing that the sheriff's department can do is arrest people and put them in jail. We don't have the facilities here. We don't have a rehab program within the jail. The only thing that we can do is take them off the street and put them through the court system. And when the court system says release them or send them to the state system, that's what we do. You know, we just don't have the money or to do anything else. And that's not really a solution.
How do you guys keep track of the drug deaths, the people who overdose?
The county coroner has got all those figures.
Are drugs the biggest problem that you face? Is that your biggest battle?
Yes, yes it is, because whether it's car theft or robbery or burglary, all these other things that we have to work on every day, much of that is because of drugs. They're wanting the money so to buy drugs.
Can you compare that, what it looks like now, to what it looked like 10 years ago, or 20 years ago, or 30 years ago, and how that's progressed throughout your career and what you've seen?
Well, back years ago, this jail would have 3 or 4 female inmates at most, and now we'll have 150. And we've gone from